Hey there, this is Andrew with Android Central, and we've just wrapped up at the CyanogenMod OnePlus One event here in San Francisco. It's a bit of a slightly delayed launch after the original Chinese launch last week, but we have our hands, of course, here on the OnePlus One. And if you couldn't tell by the software, just flipping over and taking a look, that is the Cyanogen banner there on the back. We've heard a lot of hype about this phone. We know the specs, we know the situation, but just as a quick rundown, you have a Snapdragon 805 processor in here, 16 gigs of storage, 1080p display, of course 3 gigs of RAM, and it's wrapped up in this very nice case here that's a hard white plastic. It'll also come in black if you happen to get the 64 gigabyte version, or these back covers do pop off, and in a matter of time we'll have other replacement backs in wood and denim and all kinds of other crazy materials, along with just plastic in different colors. But as we look around the sides here, this is a relatively thin device, and maybe a spot thinner than the Galaxy S5 as a good point of reference. Very similar to the Nexus 5 actually, in the way that it curves around the back and off to the sides. If you ever seen a Oppo Find 5, you'll notice that the camera pod and just the overall dimensions are very similar, but this is a far less angular device. They really rounded out the edges figuratively and literally here, down to a couple of speakers on the bottom and a simple volume rocker and power button setup. Down at the very bottom, you really can't see them, but there are capacitive keys on the bottom. You'll notice when I hop into the software, though, that on-screen keys are an option, and the nice thing is the capacitive keys don't light up, and they're just gone if you decide to turn them off. Speaking of software, this is running CyanogenMod, of course, CM11S, which is a new release of CyanogenMod specifically on the OnePlus One that's going to be coming out for other devices in the future. And the one thing you'll notice here mainly is that when you go into the settings, you'll see a typical theme button, but when you go into the themes, you have all different kinds of amazing options. They've rewritten the theme system from the ground up to make it easier on developers, easier on end consumers to customize things. You notice there are 3 themes available, and the really nice thing is you tap in and then you can choose precisely what you want from that theme. So the style, wallpaper, lock screen, notifications, and then you can just hit update and it'll apply those changes so that when you go back home you have a different layout, different themes. And then of course developers can plug into that and provide the themes that they want, and you know, you can even make them yourself if you're so inclined. The other big change in CM11S is a new camera layout, that makes it a little easier to use. You see we have basic panorama, camera, and video capture buttons on the side, but then you also have this menu on the left that takes place of the radial menu you would notice in older versions of stock Android. And what it does is brings all these effects and the levels and everything out into plain sight, so they're easier to customize. Of course, you have your standard tap to focus and things like that, but then also you'll see as you swipe from top to bottom or bottom to top, you can move between the different modes in the camera. And you see between HDR and, of course, and they're live filters, but you can also customize which effects you want, so you don't have to get bogged down with all of the different options. So if you don't want aqua, you just simply turn off aqua, and then when you go back through, it's not available. Of course, once you take pictures, you're going to want to view them in a gallery, and the new gallery app is built upon the gallery beta app that we've seen before, that has been in beta for about a year now, but it's coming out to a stable release. It's very simple. It groups albums all together automatically, groups them by place and time, make it a little easier to understand, and then also integrates with your social media sites as well as Dropbox. So overall, this is a CyanogenMod we know and many of us love, on some very interesting hardware that's coming at a pretty awesome price point as well. We're looking forward to giving this a full review treatment. For now, there's your quick look at CM11S on the OnePlus One. Thanks for taking a look.